During the Cold War, many Americans were very worried about the perceived danger of communist governments in Europe and Asia. Many people were afraid that communists could enter the United States and endanger the American government. Republicans claimed that President Truman's administration was not taking a strong stance against communism. Truman created a loyalty review board to examine government workers suspected of having connections to communism. More than 3 million individuals were examined, and around 200 individuals were terminated from their jobs. However, numerous individuals expressed criticism towards these investigations, asserting that they were unconstitutional due to the lack of access given to the accused regarding the evidence against them or the chance to confront their accusers. The House Un-American Activities Committee was established by Congress in 1947 with the purpose of identifying communists both within and outside the government. The House Un-American Activities Committee mainly targeted the movie industry, suspecting communist influences in Hollywood and the dissemination of propaganda through films. Numerous people were summoned to give testimony before the House Un-American Activities Committee, and a few acknowledged the existence of communists in the film industry. However, a group of 10 people, called the Hollywood 10, declined to give testimony before the House Un-American Activities Committee, stating that the hearings were against the principles of the Constitution. They were later accused of disloyalty and labeled as communists, which resulted in their imprisonment for showing disrespect towards Congress. The hearings conducted by the House Un-American Activities Committee led Hollywood executives to make a list of around 500 individuals who were believed to have connections with communism. This list included the Hollywood 10. Individuals who were placed on the blacklist encountered challenges in securing employment, which ultimately led to the detriment of their professional lives. The McCarran Internal Security Act was passed by Congress in 1950. This law made it a crime to engage in any activities that could potentially result in the creation of a totalitarian dictatorship in the United States. These actions were taken as part of a larger effort to address the perceived threat of communist influence within the country during the tense and fearful period of the Cold War. During the Cold War, 2 spy cases increased the widespread fear of communism in the United States. One of these instances concerned Alger Hiss, a former official from the State Department. A previous Soviet spy accused Hiss of also being a Soviet spy and of disclosing government documents. It was claimed that these documents implicated Hiss. Nevertheless, Hiss asserted that the documents were fraudulent. Because a significant amount of time had elapsed, Hiss could not be charged with espionage. Instead, he was ultimately found guilty of perjury for lying about the documents and subsequently imprisoned. The Soviet Union successfully tested an atomic bomb in 1949. A scientist from Germany admitted to giving the Soviets classified details about the American atomic bomb. He also accused Ethel and Julius Rosenberg, 2 Americans, of being involved. The Rosenbergs were recognized as members of the American Communist Party, yet they refuted the accusations of espionage. Although they denied it, they were found guilty of espionage and given the death penalty. Numerous individuals requested mercy for the Rosenbergs, contending that the evidence against them was insufficient. Nevertheless, the Supreme Court declined to reverse the ruling. The Rosenbergs were executed in 1953. The spy cases made people in the United States more afraid of communism and added to the increased worries of the Cold War period. During the early 1950s, Senator Joseph McCarthy, a member of the Republican Party, made allegations that communists were secretly entering the government. These claims were not backed by evidence and were aimed at creating fear and doubt among the public regarding communism. It is believed that McCarthy was partly motivated by his desire to be re-elected. He blamed the Democrats for allowing this supposed infiltration to happen. The acts of accusing individuals of being communists without providing evidence became widely recognized as McCarthyism. This term also became a symbol for the unjust practice of accusing individuals of disloyalty without sufficient evidence. Several Republicans backed McCarthy in hopes of winning the 1952 elections, while others condemned him for infringing upon individuals' constitutional rights. In 1954, McCarthy accused the U.S. Army, and the Senate hearings about this were shown on TV across the country. During the hearings, McCarthy mistreated witnesses without providing significant evidence, resulting in a decrease in his public backing. The Senate itself condemned McCarthy for his improper behavior. During this period, there was significant support for communist witch hunts, and many individuals were compelled to take loyalty oaths in order to obtain employment. Furthermore, certain states passed laws that made it a crime to discuss the overthrow of the government. This raised concerns regarding potential infringements on the rights protected by the First Amendment